this matchup, but no one has seen Fusion play yet. All the hype, all the mystery surrounds them right now, and it really is on Enemy to shut that down if they want to move on. Otherwise, it's going to be Fusion going forward.
Yeah, Fusion, though, they haven't been around that long either, and a little bit of a shakeup that we got word of a few days ago. They actually won't be using Gleed Glarbu, who is the support that they've been playing with for a majority of the time. They'll actually be using Chunky Fresh, who was he's actually a mid lane main who was one of the subs for Fusion. He's going to be playing the support down there with Nien Tanso for this best of 3. So we'll have to see how that's going to affect them. If it's going to affect them negatively, maybe Chunky Fresh will show up, and that synergy that they've been practicing with Nien Tanso will be a good thing, but we'll have to see.
Yeah, well, first pick, Cat God, they're really thinking about it. They'd go ahead and lock in the Maokai. It makes a lot of sense. They've prioritized. Rengar was banned away. That's sort of off the table immediately. They don't even want to pretend that they might be giving that one away. Lee Sin definitely going to be a big contested pick as well. But taking the tree away is a really big pickup. McNoon's been playing a fair amount of that. We might see his Scion as well. But of course, Nintendo on Jarvan wouldn't be a terrible choice. The Janna also has been prioritized this entire tournament. We actually haven't seen much of Chunky's support play. We can just assume that he's going to play it competently.
Yeah, definitely. And you can see that both these teams have really done their research, because these bans across the board are just solid. Gnar is one of Cat God's very best champions, and it's not something you want to give him. Also, Rengar and Nori is just an absolute beast on Rengar as well. And he still has the Lee Sin available, which is also right in his wheelhouse. So I wouldn't be surprised if they go ahead and pick that up. But we're looking at it now. The Sivir picked up. Sivir was a pick that we saw a lot leading up to the expansion tournament in the challenger scene. A lot of teams were picking that up, and it's great for those mid-game engage type team comps. Yeah,
and you also mentioned, you were talking to me a little bit in the off time while we were in between the matches, just a little bit about what they might try to do on the side of Enemy if they get that Maokai first pick. You mentioned the Syndra is a likely pickup for Wolf.
Yeah.
Obviously, they go with that one. It's the makings of a chase composition here with the Sivir as well. For Ultimate, an incredible way to chase down teams. They have enough CC in there, and Fusion has to watch out. They're going to look at the Zed right now for Huhi. Also, Nien is eyeballing Lucien as well. I think this is a pretty solid comp altogether, but it's going to be based more on isolating targets, whereas you can already see enemies looking for that team fight that they love so much.
Yeah, Wolf is a very control mage-oriented player. He really loves the Syndra, the Orianna, the Xerath is really big for him as well. And on the other side, Hui is completely different. He's very aggressive, loves to play assassins. You can see alone from the Fizzban and the Zed pickup. Sometimes he can get a little bit too aggressive, though, and a lot of times he relies on Nintendo to be there for backup when he goes for those big plays in the mid lane. But Fusion is a team full of playmakers, so they shouldn't have an issue with that.
Yeah, which is funny about the way Enemy and Fusion are kind of formulated. Enemy is actually incredibly aggressive 4 out of 5 lanes. The only lane that's really not naturally like that is Wolf. He was the Wolf's Claw.
The Wolf's Claw.
And used to see him, tossing those bouncing bombs all over the map. But yeah, it's funny. If you were to swap them out, you'd have a complete dive team all around.
Yeah.
But Huhi has kind of been, it's sort of like a double-edged sword. Either he goes in, makes some huge plays, or he kind of goes in a little bit too far and gets caught.
Yeah, and the same sort of goes for McNoon as well. And we actually don't get to see McNoon. This is an interesting strategy for them. A lot of times we don't see the top lane pick last. It's almost always on blue side that it is picked last, but we'll have to see what he's going to go with. Scion has been a really big pick for him, and it's still on the table. I think a lot of their scrims and their ranked 5s matches to qualify for this tournament, he was going with that Scion.
Yeah, it's a very likely possibility. He's been playing it a ton. Definitely thinking about something a little bit different to start off. I don't think it's going to be the Poppy, but it's not the first time we've seen Poppy in the top lane.
Nope.
And I didn't think I'd say it. He's going to lock it in. Wow.
Whoa, okay.
Right.
So that's, wow, that was very unexpected, and this should be an amazing matchup up in the top lane. Cat God versus McNoon on the Poppy.
Yeah, this is going to be a pretty interesting matchup, and you also take a look at his summoners too this time. He's getting ready to make a serious impact. He wants to lead the charge into the enemy team, and he should have no trouble doing it too. So they're going to match blow for blow. It looks like more of an isolation target team, especially with Zed being picked up by Huhi, but this is going to be, I don't even know what to say, man. Fusion and McNoon in particular, they're pulling out all the stops for game number 1.
Oh yeah, and Poppy is a champion where you really have to go in a lane where you can be able to CS, and Maokai, not necessarily known to be a lane bully top laner. Maokai is sort of your free pass to pick whatever top laner you want, whatever top laner you feel comfortable with, and I guess Poppy is that choice for McNoon, which is insane.
Yeah, this is going to be a pretty awesome match, I think. But what do you guys think? We want to know. You can go ahead and tweet us at LOL Esports using the hashtag LCS expansion, and definitely spam a lot of the Poppy stuff. We like to see it. So with that said, this game's going to start off pretty wild. Enemy always makes sure of that.
Yeah.
However, I think they might even be scratching their heads here. They have a whole lot of analysts on staff, and I don't think anyone predicted the Poppy.
Yeah, Magnoon has always been known for those crazy pocket picks, and he can carry on basically any champion that he plays, so I wouldn't be surprised if he does exactly that on the Poppy. And we are into the match. Let's see what they're going to do.
Yep, starting it off, and he's going for that early sustain as well. Both top laners, not too surprising. Now, Cax has been a pretty strong player all round. Maokai, while not his very first pick, has been a really solid fallback, especially with the perma-banning of Gnar. So, enemy, they look to make some early level ones. They almost always do it, and here we go. You see Inori actually going to get revealed for just a second by Nintendo, who's going to throw the flag in, and he sees, well, oh, that might be a little bit too far out. Ooh, he is going to come to the rescue. They want to take this level 1.
Oh, wow.
charges in, no fear, CatGod. Wow, the tree's already low, but Magnoon is the one who nearly gets picked off at that one, and they decide to back away. Wow, talk about early aggression.
That's really bold, too, because Braum is not usually a champion that you want to fight against early in the early game, especially at level 1, just because of that passive can really do work, especially to start cleaning up kills. But Magnoon, no fear whatsoever, and Poppy can be deceptively tanky at level 1 just because of her passive. The lower she gets, the harder it is to kill her because of that % damage reduction. So it's, I guess, no fear is Magnoon's style of play.
Yeah, once he hits 6, too, it'll be even harder for enemy to team fight against this once he picks that target. And, you know, it makes sense. There's so many things that can't really do much damage to him, and he can decide to chase somebody else down. But we've also seen that more aggressive style in the Poppy players we've seen so far, where they just decide, okay, 1v1 me. You have to now.
Look at this right now. This we saw last week as well. I believe it was in the Noble Truth game where they had Poppy at level 1 and they just did the early strat where he got first blood. This is a little bit different because they're going for a late invade, but there's really great ward coverage here from enemy that's going to spot this whole invasion by Fusion, and they're going to be able to know exactly where they are. That's going to give Inori sort of that signal to go enemy blue buff second, so he should be in okay position.
Yeah, definitely going to be able to just trade that one away, and actually they want to potentially go back to swapping it up. You see CatGod moving down towards the bot side. They might just give this one up and let him jungle roam for just a little bit. It's a bit of a throwback to that lane swap meta.
Yeah, so going for the lane swap, and that's something that we've seen a little bit this weekend, not so much last weekend, though. We'll have to see how they're going to react to it. A lot of challenger teams struggle to be able to deal with the lane swap, but we said it before, enemy has that support staff. They haven't been around that long, but they're improving rapidly, and I'm sure they're going to be able to deal with this just fine.
Of course, Fusion has banked on their, not just immense popularity for all of their players, but the fact that they all are very strong in their positions. And we've seen them not necessarily play together, but we've seen them play on different teams. We know those styles of those players. And so far, they seem to be matching pace, definitely trying to control the tempo of this early game and not let enemy get off on the foot they want.
Yeah, this is a little bit interesting, though, because Poppy is a champion that really needs to get going. I mentioned earlier she loves to go in a lane where she can sort of sit there and CS to sort of get rolling. But right now, Magnoon is going to be really far behind. He's going to have to go into that 2v1 lane and try and just pick up as much CS as possible.
He's going to get dove here.
And he's getting dove, and this is just really dangerous.
He is caught between a tree and a tower, and there's a sapling popping him down, a little bit more health. They're going to take their time, be methodical about it. Yeah, he's going to get that, try to get away as fast as he can, slow down the Winter's Bite. Body drop tanking it, that's going to be first blood. 3.5 minutes in, and it goes over to CatGod. Magnoon did not know what hit him.
Yeah, what a plan there by enemy to sort of predict that teleport from Magnoon, knowing that he's got to get to lane as Poppy, knowing that he's going to go for that teleport, and just setting up that dive absolutely perfectly. They barely even took any damage from that. They pick up a nice first blood, and a Poppy that's behind, that's bad news for Fusion.
Poppy that's behind might stay behind, but they're going to try to go back to a little bit more helpful roles for him right now, as you see Nintendo and Chunky making moves down there, leaving Nien Tanso alone. Well, he's been in the top lane before. I think he can handle it. Yeah,
and this is sort of has been his home for the past couple years. He was regarded as one of the best AD carriers in North America a while ago in like the first split of the LCS when he played for Marn, and it was sort of the same champion pool minus Lucian because he wasn't out, but he played a lot of Corki back then. It was sort of a similar style of AD carry as we're seeing now, so he shouldn't have much trouble adjusting the AD carry role, and he's been playing it for quite a while now with Fusion.
He touched on a pretty good point that it sort of kind of hits his meta the way they want it now. Nintendo jumping onto Otter and Body Drop. They're just going to look straight for him, but they might find a tastier Braum. Exhaust is down. They might just settle for the support, but Magnoon is not happy with just that. He's going to jump onto Otter. He has to move away from the Boomerang Blade, though. That can be a little deadly at level 2.
Yes, they are going to pick up the kill on the Body Drop, put a little more pressure on that. But at the same time, you see Inori going up to that mid lane, putting some pressure. And these lanes from Fusion are starting to fall a little bit behind. It seems like CatGod's in a little bit better position than Magnoon. But he's still struggling to get CS as well. So these top laners, I mentioned it yesterday, it just is not very fun.
Oh, they're going to chase Otter all the way. Spell Shield doesn't even matter. He's going to have to pop his flash and his heal. Still ticking away. They want to commit to this one, but they don't have quite enough damage. Body Drop doing the best he can to save the life of his carry. Again, and now Inori's joined the party. Fusion is caught behind a tower, and you see Wolf incoming. Inori could be in trouble, though. He is actually just going to jump on flash and jump away. Still goes down. That's Nintendo picking up the kill. This is haywire in the beginning. It's actually going to be Chunky finally going down. They pick up another one, taking down Nintendo. It's a double kill over to Otter. They're looking for Macnoon, and they should be able to find him. But Hui around the side, he's a flipping ninja.
Yeah, Hui picks up a kill on the back. So at the end of that, it is pretty much a 2-for-2 trade because looks like Macnoon was able to get away from that, but so much aggression early on, and that's sort of what we expect from these teams. We talked about the explosive playstyle of both of these guys, and it makes for a really exciting matchup. And it looked really bad for Fusion there. That you said they were caught behind a turret, they were low, but Inori sort of was on the wrong side of that team fight, and that's never what you want to do, especially when you're facing a Poppy, because she can turn a fight so quickly, especially in an area where there's so many walls for her to knock you against.
Well, that and Hui had all the time in the world to wander down there and just make the play that made it worth. Now, Nien trying to be deceptively low here as Chunky Fresh comes in. CatGod's having none of that, though. Walks away from the Howling Gale. And we didn't touch on this, but it's been a pretty brutal slugfest up there, considering one of the champions is ranged. Yeah,
that's a little bit ridiculous. And you can tell Nien, since he's had a lot of time to free farm for most of this beginning 6 minutes of this game, he's actually got almost double the CS of Otter because Otter's sort of been involved in a lot of skirmishes. Fusion's been doing a lot better of a job disrupting that 80 carry farm where enemy just sort of sent CatGod up there and said, good luck.
Uh-oh, Macnoon focusing him out yet again. He's got nowhere to go, and he does have the Ghost, but not going to use it. One more Boomerang Blade, knockback, and Otter's got 3 kills. I guess he doesn't need CS when he's got that many in his pocket already.
Yeah, I'm sure if you look at that gold, it's probably about even. They both have BF swords now, so it's going to be even. And Macnoon, he's having a rough time this game. He's just getting absolutely focused, and that's a great plan from enemy.
Yeah, I think they're recognizing the fact that the Poppy may be some kind of secret weapon. Not going to even give it a chance.
Yeah, they might have even scouted it. You said earlier, maybe they weren't expecting it, but right now it seems like they know exactly how to deal with it, and they're doing whatever they can to make sure that Macnoon is not a part of this game.
No, they're making sure Wolf may not be a part of this game. Nintendo and Hui, he's going to be able to get the Unleashed power off, but that's going to be a nice pickup there, waiting patiently in the brush. So Fusion, yes, they have had some troubles. Macnoon especially has been focused out here. But Fusion are answering back kill for kill where they can. The gold is dead even right now, and this is anybody's dragon. Fusion's going to start it up. Yeah,
Fusion just had a little bit better vision control. Wolf was trying to gain it back there, and that's where he met his downfall. But with that pick, Fusion's going to be able to pick up an easy dragon. Enemy is not going to give this one up without a fight, though.
Yep, this might be pretty close here. He could go in, doesn't actually pick off the steal, but Inori will get the jump off, and now it's Body Drop pretty low. Otter, unbreakable. They're still going on this one. The end, finally going to find Body Drop, and that will be the dragon and the kill. Inori going to stealth out of town, and Fusion blinking health bars, but they manage it.
Yeah, not only do they pick up the dragon and a kill in that situation, Macnoon was up in the top lane with teleport ready, and being able to pick up free farm himself. So he's starting to get to that point. He's hit level 6. They have a really great pick comp here. The back line of enemy is just going to get absolutely wrecked in these team fights with a Poppy and a Zed. And now that Macnoon's getting some farm under his belt, he could start to get scary.
Yep, and they have left him alone for just a little bit as he's taking his place back up in the top. So CatGod's perfectly happy to just have a little bit of a jungle slap fight with a Macnoon now actually getting caught out just a bit as Wolf makes the roam up top and Nori on the jump. And again, Macnoon's going to go down pretty soon, but he might delay it for just a second. Oh my goodness, can he take down a Nori? Yes, he can. Gonna fall down, but to make it a 1-for-1, hashtag worth.
Yeah, that's definitely worth for Macnoon. And you could tell just by his positioning, he was all the way by the blue buff, and enemy did a great job of closing on him. But he ended up trading 1-for-1. Now, you do get the assist over to enemy, but when you're as behind as Macnoon is in this game right now, you pick up anything that you can, and he was just drawing attention away from everybody else on the map. Hui's starting to pull ahead of CS in the mid lane, so starting to look up for Fusion.
Yep. When you've got diplomatic immunity, you can pretty much go wherever you want.
That's indeed correct.
Now, Hui has been doing a pretty solid job, I would say, outside of his lane. Those 2 kills, the roams. He's done pretty solid for himself on the Zed. It's hard to 1v1 somebody like Wolf who's going to stay safe. Yes, he's on Syndra, a zone control mage, somebody who can potentially assassinate you, but Zed typically is going to be really useful for these roams. So we've seen Hui play to that condition. We've seen Nintendo do the same thing. And across the board, the kill participation is pretty solid for everybody but Nien, who's just kind of been doing his own thing now. You see Chunky and Huhi making moves down, but Otter and Body Drop, they know what's up.
Yeah, enemies starting to fall to their back foot right now. You can tell that they're playing very passively.
Uh-oh.
And not rule.
Nintendo. Oh, he waits for the spell shield to be already down. The ult is popped as well, so Otter trying to save Body Drop for just a minute, return the favor. But again, Fusion diving deep now. Macnoon could be in trouble yet again. And Inori jumping in there with CatGod. He just wants to focus hit Poppy all day, and he's going to be able to pick up another kill.
So much focus on the Macnoon, but at this point, it's sort of to a fault, because while they're getting Macnoon behind, it looks like this is what Fusion wants, at least in this point of the game, because they're just getting objectives all across the map elsewhere and really putting Otter and Body Drop behind. You can tell Nien now 30 CS up with 1 kill under his belt.
And wow! Nintendo, no fear. He's going to jump the Cataclysm, and Otter's got nowhere to go, no escapes, and he's going to go down. Nintendo might fall, but wait a minute, Body Drop's low. CatGod, can he get the kill? He might be able to sapling, but what the flash away? CatGod now, he has nowhere he can go as well, with Nien and Chunky Fresh just chunking him out, I suppose, would be the best description.
Yeah, and Fusion is just sort of taking control of this game right now. Inori's going to try and get this up in the top lane, but Macnoon's going to be here to stop him from pushing any further. And this is just starting to get pretty disastrous for enemy. And Huhi is just sort of playing right into the style of Wolf. We talked about it earlier. Wolf is not a player that likes to play aggressive. He's a very control mage-oriented, very control-oriented player. Loves to play passive, just farm up and let his team make the plays around him and just be that sort of supportive mid laner. But against an aggressive player like Huhi, you cannot afford to do that. He's doing okay in CS, but really he's just sort of staying by his turret and just getting the farm that he can. He's not making an impact anywhere else on the map.
Yeah, and they really haven't been wanting to do that safe game. They've been wanting to make the aggressive plays all around. And you can see enemy, yes, they're falling behind. It's not as big of a deficit as we've seen in some of the games this weekend and so in this entire tournament so far, but you can see the difference in how they're playing this out now. Enemy trying to be a little more cautious. They know that they take their win conditions very seriously. They decide to make early plays, try to get little edges, and win it out in that mid game. But Fusion has not given that to them. They've turned it around. They've answered back kill for kill, and they've answered back tower for tower. And CatGod could be in a little bit of trouble here. Nintendo has been all over the map. And speaking of not just him, everybody from Fusion's on backup duty
he's
now.
Coming in from behind
here.
here.
Cax, he might be in trouble. He's going to be able to walk it out. He's a big tree, but this tower will not last so long. Fusion decides to start this mid game early, and enemy, they're just looking a bit scattered.
Yeah, looking a bit disorganized here, and we just got a glimpse of the vision on the bottom side of the map here, and enemy has no vision on their own side of the jungle, and that just allowed Nintendo to just really just free roam all the way through that red side of the map. You can see all the wards that he placed, and they're really setting up their pushes nicely right now. All 5 members are in the top lane pushing this, and enemy is not even going to be close to going even on this base race.
Yeah, they are not all in position. Fusion says go, and they hit the gas. That's going to be 3 towers down. They've cracked the inhibitor shell. It's 13 minutes in. A massive oversight for enemy. Just completely stabs him in the back.
Yeah, and that's just great planning by Fusion and just great vision control. I can't stress it enough. You look at that blue side of the map, enemy's blue side of the map. That's Fusion's blue side of the map, basically. They control 3/4 of that jungle area, and that just allowed them to really just surprise them, put all 5 members into the top lane. They have a really great fast-pushing team because of their mid-game power spikes with Lucian, Zed, and Jarvan being able to hit that turret with the Damascene Standard. And they just completely OGN rotations.
Just about. Now, enemy, they can answer back on this one, but they need to start looking together for those fights while they're still relevant. They're down a significant amount of gold. The dragon is up in 10 seconds. This could be the next big fight. A lot of these have been skirmishes that have started out as 3v3s, 3v4s, but now enemy is looking to set up for this one. But they have a naked inhibitor already. There's so many options for Fusion here. They're starting to muscle out enemy, and they're just looking to start this one off, or at least deter enemy from even going anywhere.
Yeah, Fusion focus a lot of their energy on that blue side of the map, and so they got to be really careful around this dragon because this is an area where they don't have vision control. Right now, they have to know that they're a little bit ahead, but they can't know that they're at 3K gold ahead, and they can't really predict what enemy is going to be able to do without the vision of them. So it's going to be tough for them. Stay as a team is going to be what they're going to try and do and try and muscle out some vision here, but this looks like it's going to be enemies.
Yeah, I think they managed to get it around in a perfect timing, but Macnoon wants to come in here. Inori's on the wrong side of the pit. Macnoon jumping forward. CatGod, he is pretty low already. Whoa, Macnoon goes down, and he doesn't even get a chance to ult off, and Fusion has to bail out of town. Body Drop leading the charge, and here they go. Inori into stealth mode. Can he get the jump on? might just disengage from this one, but that didn't seem to be well coordinated by Fusion.
Yeah, McNoon stayed in a little bit too long. I don't think he expected to get CC'd that much. That's usually a great plan when you have a Poppy. Send her in, get a lot of focus onto the player that's on Poppy, and then use that diplomatic immunity to just sort of disrupt the other team and allow your team to get in position and come in for the fight. But McNoon just got absolutely destroyed there, and he's going to TP to this ward over by blue buff.
He really wants this blue buff.
Yeah, that's an interesting use of teleport.
Yep. Well, if it grabs him that buff, that's what he's looking for. Now, there was a pretty solid minion wave on that top side that CatGod's going to have to go back and clear. Body drop, popping the ward down, knows that that buff was freshly cleared away. And now Nintendo and Chunky Fresh looking to close the trap. The tower's still up, but here comes Hoovy and Nintendo. Oh my goodness, that is going crazy. Right there, they managed to pop on her. It's McNoon picking up the kill. They jump on Wolf and Body Drop. They've got nowhere to go as well. Hoovy with the killing spree, and they've juggled the aggro so effectively here. Fusion gonna take down a tower, take down 3 kills. An enemy, man, that's like a blind sucker punch.
Yeah, they are struggling right now to find a foothold in this game. Fusion just collapsing on them so quickly, taking out 3 members just as fast as Fusion came into that fight. So this is just not looking good whatsoever for enemy, and they really need to just sort of get vision control of their own jungle and be able to see these flanks coming, because a Jarvan Poppy combination, they're going to flank you every single time they're looking for a fight. They even spotted McNoon out by their blue buff moving around towards the mid lane. They just sort of stayed a little bit too long, and this is just an enemy team that's looking lost.
Yeah, hit-and-run warfare from Fusion. They get in, they grab the kills, they grab 2 towers, and they get out completely scot-free. This has been the story of the game so far when they've taken those successful fights. It's just a series of raids. They don't need the team fight.
Yeah, and this is sort of how in a game where 2 explosive teams are battling it out, what happens is they both try to make aggressive moves early, and then the one team that comes out on top is usually the team that dominates the game. And this is sort of an accelerated game from what we're used to. It's only 17 minutes in.
Oh boy, body drop. He could be in trouble. Inori already getting out of there, but they sacrifice the support player on enemy esports. Fusion, again, every single time they smell blood, they go right on in, and they're able to take a little edge every single time. Enemy, we mentioned, again, they tried this early game. They haven't gotten too far with it. Now CatGod's in trouble. Hui's jumping on him. The tree, they shredding his bark down. That's McNoon with a killing spree, 4 and 5 on the Poppy, and they're looking for this inhibitor tower. You mentioned it. It's 17.5 minutes in. They're looking to take down an inhibitor. This is nuts.
They also have the inhibitor turret down up in the top side as well, so this is Fusion just absolutely destroying this map. And you said it, as soon as they smell blood, they do not hesitate one bit to go in for a fight. And not even on a Maokai, who we went in, and this team was just like, okay, we're here, we're following up. They're just picking up kill after kill after kill. You look at the gold, it's not a blowout game. Enemy is still doing an okay job of keeping themselves in, but at the same time, we mentioned such an accelerated game. 5K may not be that big of a lead at 25 minutes, but at 18 minutes, that's a big deal.
Yeah, it doesn't even feel like we're watching what should be the mid game. It's getting closer and closer by the second to looking what could be a closeout. Now McNoon going up to the top to clear some waves out. They have been able to make the dives on and make those plays, but there was a good job by enemy to stop that turret from going down. And, you know, the big weakness here has been when Fusion goes in, sometimes not everybody is going to follow up. McNoon dove in on that dragon or post-dragon, and that bit him in the behind. They've had a couple of similar issues just with diving and not really clearing the objectives first, but if they're able to execute that, enemy just doesn't have a response.
Yeah, and enemy looking for a little bit of a sneak attack on a McNoon here. They have not let up their pressure on McNoon this whole game. It seems like enemy isn't playing against Fusion. They're only playing against McNoon. That's what it seems like.
There are 4 other players to deal with on the team, and they definitely don't want to let those ones go. But they have punished McNoon quite a bit. 5 deaths, the highest on his team, the highest in the game, shared with Body Drop, who's pretty much been the sacrificial Braum this time.
Yeah. McNoon is such a thrifty player, it seems. He's such a unique top laner in the regards that he's not afraid to put pressure and sacrifice himself to be able to allow his team to get more pressure or more objectives on the other side of the map. And you see him doing just that. He got shut down super hard early, but still managed to keep himself in the game, still managed to put pressure on the map despite being behind on a champion that doesn't play well from behind, and is still managing to do a great job of contributing to these team fights in a really fantastic way.
Not to mention his ability to dodge skill shots is pretty awesome right there. You can see just tiny split-second decision-making, and that can make the difference between just taking a little bit of extra abuse in any of those team fights. Incredible mechanical skill, and that's what Fusion's relying on all across the board on their members, and it is paying off for them. They say, okay, guys, you can all get in, you can do what you can, pick the kills off, and then we will push from there because no one will be around to stop us.
Yeah, the one thing that Fusion has to be careful of, though, is they can't let up on this pressure that they're putting on the map because enemy's team comp is great at capitalizing on mistakes. The Sivir ultimate on the hunt is such a great tool at closing gaps and cleaning up fights. And also they have the Kazakhs. Syndra is great for that as well. So Fusion just has to make sure that they keep applying this pressure. It's still early in the game, 20 minutes, but I can tell that they're going to want to end this game as early as they possibly can. They've broken that shell. They have the top lane inhibitor turret down. So it's just a matter of controlling the rest of the map and capitalizing on any mistake that enemy is going to make by moving out of their base without vision.
Well, they've already moved out of their base. They had the vision, but they may not have the positioning now. Nintendo's going to get fired down into Nori, but meanwhile on the back line, Hui is able to get the death mark onto a Nori. Macnoon charging forward. Chunky Fresh, how long is he going to stay alive? Hui finally takes down Body Drop, and it's going crazy. Otter follows onto Chunky Fresh. It's a 1 for 2 so far, and Nori cannot get involved. CatGod jumping onto Macnoon, and he actually goes down immediately. 2 for 2 right now. Macnoon on the chase, and they're going to settle for that one, but Fusion in position to pick this dragon.
From 0-3 to now being on a rampage, Macnoon is just being so disruptive in these team fights. As soon as that diplomatic immunity's popped, it's so hard to be able to communicate to switch off of the Poppy and switch onto someone else and have your focus fire be enough to take someone down. But Macnoon is just doing so much damage in these fights, and also Hui as well is being able to get to that backline and disrupt. And that didn't look like a great team fight for Fusion from the beginning, but they managed to salvage it, clean it up, and now they have a solid about 8,000 gold lead at 21 minutes, and they're still in a fantastic spot in this game. The bright point here for enemy has been Otter. His positioning's been pretty good in these fights, but he came late, and he didn't have the on the hunt. He didn't have the ability to help engage or disengage first fight. So, and that cost enemy in the long run.
Yeah, it absolutely did. Now, Fusion has been, again, banking on these superior team fights of theirs. So far, so good. They have a better sustain in the 22-minute game, and they've been able to pick up quite a lot of dragons. They've gotten the objective lead that they've wanted, and that's definitely banking them ahead for the later on in the game. But as you mentioned, they have a ticking timer right now. They have to keep this aggression up. Enemy going to look to do the same thing.
Yeah, this is just going to be harder and harder for enemy to deal with, though, because Hui has hit that point where he's got those 2 core items on Zed, the Blade of the Ruin King, as well as the Yuma's Ghost Blade. It's going to be a nightmare for whoever he decides to go on. Bright point for enemy, Wolf does have that Zhonya's Hourglass, but there is no Mikhail's. There's nothing to protect Otter from that, so it could be really dangerous for him to show his face early in these team fights. And Macnoon as well, you have 2 threats that are going to be in your backline doing work, and at the same time, they have a Janna, which is sort of that quintessential disengaged support. So Fusion has done a great job of sort of balancing out the areas of their team and just, I mean, controlling the game enough to where enemy just doesn't have many options going into these fights.
Oh boy. The unseen team.
Oh no.
Just might be the deadliest. Body drop. Ooh, be careful. They don't know where they are. They might think it's a Baron. Body drop is not on the worst champion to be able to check this, but ooh, okay. Fusion gets a little impatient there. That could have been a pretty crazy fight, or at least a very quick one.
3 members of Fusion were actually behind Body Drop on that. If they were able to spot them out, they could have collapsed really quickly.
Now,
so he's pretty fortunate.
Enemy looking to try and shove this one up here because they don't see Fusion at home, but they're going to flank onto Anorik. How fast can he go invis? Actually going to burn his flash immediately, but he's in a ward. Culling comes out. Macnoon on the chase as well. They'll be able to disengage this one. Oh, Hui from the back, but they're going to catch him anyways. Deathmark is down. They find Wolf, but there's a shutdown going over to Inori. They have a number advantage, but Wolf's already gone. Goodbye, Macnoon. He's taking down the whole team. Nien's in the party as well. Macnoon's going to go down. That's a double kill for Inori. It is a 4-3 game right now, but Nintendo looking to even that one up. Shutdown gold going over to him. They're looking for more. They want to find Cax. He's in the middle, but wait, Body Drop. Chunky Fresh, reset the team fight, he says. Body Drop going down. Otter running away fast as he can, and Fusion not about to let him get out of there. Nintendo looking for the kill.
What a clutch Monsoon there from Chunky Fresh, just absolutely disrupting the remaining 3 members. That was a legitimate 3v3, but he pushed him back, split him up, and they couldn't collapse enough to be able to focus down on that team fight. Macnoon did just enough at the beginning of that fight to allow his team to catch up to him, take out a member of enemy, and then sacrifice his life once again for his team. the one thing is, Nien really has to focus on getting in and out of the fights better. You can see he sort of lags behind, doesn't choose the right time. He hasn't died in this fight or in this game yet, but he's just really not having as much of an impact for his team as he could be. Still though, Fusion has a huge lead in this game, and Enemy still struggling to find that foothold.
Yeah, and they've been able to climb back in a little bit, but it takes some serious mental fortitude for a team to be down one member like that just happened, and then to have Poppy charge in. I mean, you never expect that when you're down a member that, oh, they're going to just double back and engage us. And that is what Fusion has done consistently, and they've done it so well. They get nearly the ace for that one. Cax was the only one that made it out alive. No, it didn't turn into an objective, but a couple more fights like that, Enemy will have a lot more to worry about than a couple towers down.
Yeah, they want to not fall into that pattern of evenly trading kills in these team fights, or almost evenly trading kills in these team fights. Because the longer this game goes on, the less percentage gold they'll be up. And the longer this game goes on, the more chances Enemy is going to have to find that mistake and to capitalize on that mistake from Fusion that they're going to be more likely to make as the later this game goes. You could tell Enemy now feeling a lot more confident after that fight. And going here's
all the same, Nintendo's going to set something up. He might go down, but we've seen this one before. Here's the flank. It's MacNoon, and Hui's in the picture. They're not going to jump for Inori. They want Otter. He's going to try to run away from this one, but MacNoon is going to pick up Inori, and they're going for more. Wolf running away from him as fast as he can, but you can't catch the Poppy, trying to send him back. Meanwhile, they pick off CatGod as well. It's a double kill for MacNoon, and they've traded 1 for 4. They don't even need the tower. Body drop, that's going to be the ace. Hui picking that one up, and they're heading straight for Baron.
Nintendo, the only person to fall in that fight from Fusion. MacNoon just doing so much work on the backline, and that's so tough to do with Enemy. They trade even in a fight, and then they run straight down the middle with so much confidence, but Fusion just say, you know what, we'll just flank you from behind with Hui and MacNoon. Nintendo's going to come up from the front, and they get an ace and a Baron just for 1 kill. So that pretty much solidifies Fusion's lead in this game. Yeah, this is
12,000 gold game.
That's ridiculous.
This has been what Nintendo's done the entire time. Goes in, Cataclysm, buys enough time for his team to get there. I don't care if I die, I'm going to get my team an ace. His kill participation is absolutely off the hook. 21 out of 24 kills he's been a part of.
Yeah, you can sense a little bit of desperation in Enemy's play here. They didn't really have much vision control over the map. They didn't spot the flanks coming around from Hui on that Zed, or from MacNoon even. They just said, you know what? We might as well just try and go for this mid turret, and it ended up being not a great
Wolf
idea.
As well. Oh my goodness! He gets the Zhonya's off just in time, and they pop Hui, but man, these are so back and forth, even with the solo kills now. So a bit of a mistake from Fusion's mid laner, but it was a very close thing. The Zhonya's will be down. Wolf can't get involved in this dragon, so it's still effectively a 4 for 4, and it looks like Fusion's going to try to start this one up.
They do have the Baron buff, but a 4v5 is hard nonetheless, no matter how far ahead you are in
they're
gold.
Going to pick it off, though. They're going to find this fight. And Nori, he could go down. He's been melting. They squished the bug. Once again, MacNoon in the front.
Where's Wolf?
Body drop. He's pretty low as well. Wolf is running as fast as he can to get back to this one, but it might be too late. It's a double kill for MacNoon again. I feel like I'm repeating myself every single time here. Otter, he could go down. Triple kill for MacNoon on the bottom, and they're going for more. And the Tanso is going to pick that one up.
He's going for the
It's
quadra.
only Wolf. MacNoon wants it. He's going to go for it. One more shot, and he does it. The quadra kill from MacNoon, and they're heading for the base.
The quadra kill Poppy, and they actually have an open inhibitor turret up in this top lane. This is going to be a definite push. They might even try to end the game here. Might be a little bit bold, but they have the Janna for the shield. It looks like they're going to back off, but what a team fight from them. And Wolf was nowhere to be found. He was so low from that engagement in the mid lane with Zed, and he had to back off. And that should have been Enemy's Q. I mentioned a 5v4 is not a great idea when you have Baron, but a 4v4 when you have Baron is exactly what you want. They did not hesitate to pull the trigger, and MacNoon ends up with a quadra kill for it.
Speaking of no hesitation now, they really want to answer back. They find Chunky fresh, and Inori actually got sidestepped a couple times there before they managed to take him down. All the same, Fusion is just rocking and rolling through this later game. It's 29 minutes in. They're going all for broke, and Enemy has to find an answer to go back into this.
Yeah, and I just can't think of much that's going to bring them back into this game, despite Fusion just having multiple lapses in judgment over and over again. They're going to have to really look for mistake after mistake if they're going to want to come back into this one. It's getting dangerously close to a 20K lead, and it's been a long, long time since I've seen a team come back from that.
Yeah, and Enemy is not the team that typically will make those plays, but you look at this side of Fusion.
Okay.
The damage is buffed just a little bit.
Yeah, he popped the Umus to get those creeps.
Yep.
Wanted to take that CS
back
away.
In 45 seconds. It's all right.
Yeah.
They're feeling pretty confident right
now.
That's McNoon. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, same thing with Poppy Pick. It has been just a miraculous run for him. As much as they've tried to keep him down, he's come back thundering 12 and 6, and that quadra kill. You could see those health bars melting, and this is an incredibly high damage output right here. And I really don't think enemy expected this. They tried their best to keep it down for as long as they could, but Fusion has been unleashed here.
Yeah, it seemed like they had a great plan going into this one, saying, hey, let's do what we can to focus McNoon, do what we can. Oh, Nintendo could be caught!
He might have a little bit enough tank stats to stay alive, though, and actually they don't take too much of a bite out of him, thanks to the shields from Chunky Fresh.
Yeah, he's pretty tanky at this point in the game. He's approaching 5 items dangerously close on that Jarvan, so he's going to be tough to take down. 22 assists as well.
You see what
Not too shabby.
You see what enemies trying to do here, just to see if they can pick off little targets so they can take the number advantage before the fight resets in favor of Fusion, and that's really their window back into this game. If they can get that, they have a couple of easy avenues into the base of Fusion, but there's nothing else on the map to take. There's 2 outer turrets, one remaining, or rather an inner turrets, one remaining on the top, one on the bottom, and they could try to march down mid, but it would be such a close call. They've done their best to wrestle a bit of vision back into this one, but Fusion's not making it easy.
Yeah, they had a small window there, enemy did, while they didn't have super minions pushing up on that top side of the map. Grouping as 5, trying to make something happen, but it's just so hard for them to even find a pick right now. And who are we going in?
He's going for a Nori, and he might just splat the bug once again. He's going to be able to get out of that one quite easy before we can even finish the sentence at this point. And they're going all in. McNoon in the back of the base. Wait a minute, this isn't our base, this is your base apparently. Wolf gets the Zhonya's off, but it doesn't even matter. Godlike kill for McNoon. They're jumping. Otter with the shield. I don't think it's going to matter. Cat God going down. Everybody is up, and just McNoon finally falling over. The towers are going down. This one is all over, and Enemy Esports dropping game number 1. Fusion looking strong in 31.5.
What a performance there by Fusion, and especially McNoon. I don't think any of us expected the Poppy pick coming out in the very first game there. But wow, what a performance. He was shut down early on, started the game 0-3, was struggling to find CS in that early laning phase, and was dove multiple times in that early game, managed to come back, picks up a quadra kill. I think he ended with something like 14 kills in that game.
He was absolutely insane on that Poppy pick, and it's not the only champion that he likes to go that hard on. So Fusion coming up really strong. This is the first competitive game we've seen them play, and Enemy Esports was not a slouch of a team. They have played incredibly powerfully all the way through their short tenure together as a team, taking second place in the Black Monster Cup, training very rigorously. They have an extensive support staff, but I don't think anyone can prepare you for what Fusion just threw at them.
Yeah, both of these teams, we mentioned it earlier, very explosive types of teams, but it seems like Fusion just outgunned them in that game. They got that lead a little bit in the early to mid game, and then they just never let go. And that's sort of the fault of teams that play that mid game explosive type fights. They sort of have trouble closing out games or finding ways to get back into games. They can snowball really well. They can do really well in that mid game when they're ahead. But as soon as they fall behind, they struggle a lot, and it seems like enemies suffer from that a little bit. But wow, did Fusion impress me in that first match.
Yeah, that was definitely the hype that we were looking for, and now getting into game number 2.